So, I mean, it's DuckDuckGo in this example, but if you were to type in Agenda 21 map, yeah, and it's interesting how many 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, blah, 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 links also come up, because obviously it's the continuation of the rollout of the goals of Agenda 21. And remember, these maps tell you about, highly controlled areas where, there'll be little or no human, blah, 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 no residency, whatever else, the land will be put to this or that or whatever else, but it will be wilderness corridors, there'll be, highly controlled, regulated, populated areas, etc., etc. Because remember, you're being told on a daily basis that, and notice how they always say mankind. You notice that? Man-made, human, man-made climate change. You don't hear anything genderless, shall we say, in that one, because they never miss an opportunity. They just don't, yeah? Because, well, you've got at least half the population on your side subliminally. Look, it's down to men. It's man-made, yeah? Remember, they demonised anything about man-made X, Y, and Z in previous decades when it was anything, well, positive, yeah? But when it's the negative, if it's, while doing goals, and it's all about goals, like, they'll humour the average idiot that they'll spend their life feeling manly watching a bunch of overpaid tossbags kicking about a piece of leather on a piece of grass in the form of football or fucking American this or whatever the fuck, right? But, yeah. The detail. Nobody seems to care. I just don't get it. I just do not get it. It's there in plain sight. It's all you need to look up. Yeah, the farmers. Yeah, look what's happening. Look, I'm absolutely an appreciator for so many reasons of quality farming. Farmers, intergenerationally, all the rest of it. I mean, they know the land, yeah? That's why we've managed to survive for thousands of years, but this is not what this is about. This is about, well, eugenics and population reduction. And you'll be like, well, Scott, yeah, But I look at this even, because remember, even at the council level, because remember, this is about, they keep going on about limited sovereignty because they want to destroy all nations, yeah? Replaced by regions and zones, etc., etc., yeah? This is the wiping out of anything to do with history, character, genuine achievement, human achievement, and fantastic societies. That's to be destroyed. But so it's important to have in the councils, because they'll become more powerful over time. Remember, through these things, for example, in the UK called the Snoopers Charter, which I was warning about at the time. I mean, remember, so many organisations have access to data about your bank accounts and you aren't to be told. I mean, and now it's, we'll, if anybody's on any kind of benefit, we need to, and remember, let's not forget immigration. The only solution to immigration is to have everybody with an ID card, and then an ID code, then an ID chip, blah, 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 all the rest, etc., etc. Because, hey, we've got climate change, we've got, and remember, man-made climate change. Demonising a building block of life at 0.04% of the atmosphere. I've said it all before, but remember, think about these councils, some of the councillors and council employees. I mean, when you look at the public sector, it's wall to wall with underlying occultists. Humanists, Theosophists, New Age movement, this, that, the next thing. Yeah, Eastern Star, Freemasonry. You look, an endless shit show list of, I've said all along, when you look at it, they're interconnected death cults, because they have a religion where there's not a lot of us around. Seriously, because Well, you're not one of them. Think about this. I mean, a lot of people who go into Freemasonry, for example, they're, look, it helps you get on in business, but no guarantee. It's a smart thing to be involved in, no matter where you go in the world. People, say the right things, press the right palms in the right way. You'd be surprised. I mean, there's many attractions, but when you look at the initiations, one would normally rationally pause for thought. But if people who are coming to you and say, hey, listen, you like me, there's a lot of Masons, very charismatic people, yeah? So, and why wouldn't you? Oh, here, I feel special, I feel part of something here, blah, blah, blah. Listen, pal, you won't get ahead in life, And many Masons, they get their sons involved, or women, they get their daughters involved, Eastern Star, etc., and variations on the theme. But they have a very, very, very different idea about reality and what the rest of us is really all about. There is a disconnect beyond belief. While they have a standard of living that they're involved or part of something that is to the detriment of many, seriously. And how about this, under fair use?
I am a butterfly. I am here to represent all the insects.
I am the foxglove, and I represent all the wildflowers.
I am nettle, and I am here because we have been misunderstood.
This is an interspecies democracy meeting, so it's a...
Think about this. Seriously, think about this, right? Honestly. I mean, you could, and I would agree with you. I could have done a better job up tonight. I mean, there's many vids that I just don't upload, but I'm at the stage where, look, am I that far off even in the not so good vids? There is a disconnect with these people. And within, for example, various pagan aspects, they come across as Care Bears, and certainly, they embrace the social side of feeling like they're part of some extended family that is separate from, well, the herd out there, the public, I mean, think about council workers, never mind anybody else, not councillors, but even council workers, many of them, who are involved in front line of, the day-to-day of dealing with the public. And they many of them dress like that kind of thing, and it's, softly spoken and all the rest of it, but there is this big disconnect that they seem to all share about, the plight of so many others, the implementation of a lot of things that they then said, look, it's just council policy, we've all got to do, and to the employees, things like this, it helps keep this disconnect going that, they're part of something, they're part of nature. Yeah, nature worship, spirituality, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that council alone, Southampton City Council, apparently something like £640 million in debt. Yeah, seriously. But think about this.
Theatrical council meeting. We are inviting people to represent non-human residents of Southampton.
To represent non-human residents, because remember, it's about getting us back to nature. It's this new Eden. But in this new Eden, has anybody ever actually thought, the one thing you definitely notice about Eden, that there wasn't that many people there. Seriously, the Garden of Eden, blah, blah, blah. So if they want to get back there, what are they basically trying to say here? Hey, it's gone too far, humanity. Non-human residents. Think about this.
And they are going to put forward questions and motions.
And what the, honestly, seriously, this is ritualistic as well. Absolutely.
As you would in a council meeting.
Think about this shit, seriously. If you for 1 second think that these people are sane, think again.
So we're exploring what it means to understand the perspectives of our...
I mean, what? Think about this. of our non-human neighbours in the city.
Non-human neighbours in the city.
So while, days not that long ago, people were more genuinely concerned about each other and solutions were met quickly, yeah? And it's the cue for, well, resolving anything, no matter how much you're paying in tax, etc., etc. The time of the resolving of anything to your satisfaction that you used to take for granted for good reasons. Now, by the day, it's no longer about you. It's about Gaia Mother Earth. It's about Mother Nature. It's about non-human residents. I'm telling you, if you ever wonder why these people are so soulless, and I do say that, their spirituality and connection to nature and all the rest of it, I mean, honestly, many of them see themselves as gods, quite literally. I am God. Seriously, look at the New Age movement, all the rest of it. Many people have covered it. Few people have listened, apparently.
Nowadays, we so often feel as though we're surviving rather than thriving.
Think about the mindset of that. And people could say, look, at the beginning of this video, Scott, you were waffling on about Freemasonry and all the rest of it. But there is this interconnected belief system that in every single aspect of it, when you look at it, no matter, it's at the detriment of the vast majority of us. Seriously. And their level of disconnect, this lack of empathy, is the ritualistically in whatever fucking form of costume or, the disconnect is unbelievable. I mean, it's just astounding. Think about that. And this is a religion, while going after biblical Christianity or whatever else, while promoting whatever for the destruction under, things like Albert Pike's The Third World War, blah, blah, blah. You look at this ongoing madness.
We notice that pollinating flowers are sometimes cut within an inch of their lives.
We notice that pollinating flowers are sometimes cut within an inch of their lives. I tell you what they apparently don't seem to be noticing. The glyphosates or the chemtrails. But this is a dig about, anybody that's got a garden that's, seriously.
Cut within an inch of their lives. And we cannot understand what benefit you humans
seek. Think about this. So, I mean, honestly, I keep thinking, of so many different books. I keep thinking of That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis. I really do. As one example.
see.
Where he's literally telling you, look, these people are not playing with a full deck. If you read it, honestly, if you get, I mean, I've read it a few times, and it's worth reading a few times. Yeah. There's some people out there that, this apparent embracement of nature, but is there anything natural about them? Really, think about this. These are people who are literally running councils, working within councils, implementing council's dogma, which is essentially, basically, whatever the UN's saying in the implementation of it. Seriously. And that's what they're thinking of you.
And what benefit you humans seek by killing these flowers?
We are trying to raise a serious question about
And they all look like Care Bears.
our relationship with the natural world. And we're trying to get people to understand how the...
What the... And then, of course, the owl. Come on, fuck. And hence, yet again, masonry. And come on, just type in Masonic Lodge, whatever else. And what the fuck is the common denominator? At least they're a wee bit more subtle in some council chambers. The checkered floor is not there. But the similarities, come on. We're not dealing with same people here, like, we're not.
Dependent we are on other species for our way of life.
And yet, what did he do? We'll put solar farms on arable farmland. We'll quite literally land grab X, Y, and Z under masquerading as the righteous. Will cause you abject misery. Will cause the death of farmers galore to start with, and which will cause the death of well, potentially millions of people who benefited from the fine efforts of farmers and all the rest of it, and you think to yourself, surely, God, somebody in these councils must care. This is what you're actually dealing with. I mean, honestly. Anyway, you could call it a long-winded waffle, and you'd be absolutely right. But just before I go, when you think about things like the Wicker Man, what was it, 73, 74, whatever, right? Yeah? Oh, I'd love to play a wee bit of a clip from it, but, it's YouTube. But honestly, that's what your councils, think about it, are really all about. Yeah? The sacrifice of people, essentially, as they pursue this sort of paganistic New Eden blah blah blah. Yeah? Your thoughts, and I'll speak to you soon.